Hey everyone, welcome to the Zeonic Earth Outpost. My name is Mike. Our objective with this series, this channel, is going to be to highlight the Gundam series, Gunpla, the plastic model building, the hobby, some tools, techniques, what we like about certain kits. It's going to be an open forum for Gunpla and Gundam discussion. So like I said, my name is Mike. You might know me as the Fox Hunt on Instagram. I've been building for about a year now. I built when I was younger, when I was in high school. When I went to college, I got out of the hobby. Like I said, recently, about a year ago, I picked it back up again. It's great. If anyone's looking to get into it, now is a really good time to get into the hobby. My favorite series currently, I think, is Gundam Thunderbolt. Really solid series. Got me back into Gundam as a whole. Gunpla, just the animation blew me away. Story's pretty solid. My classic go-to is always going to be the 8th MS team. Another awesome series, awesome suits. My favorite suit is the Zaku 2. When I think of Gundam, I know a lot of people, they really like the Granddaddy RX. Awesome suit, but for me, just classic Gundam is the Zaku 2. Currently, right now, I'm working on an HG Gundam Thunderbolt Psycho Zaku. Great kit, really recommend it. Now I'm going to throw it over to Mike.
Hi guys, Mike here also. Some of you might know me as Ohio Gundam Federation on Instagram. I've been building for about a year now. I used to build back when I was younger, when I was a kid, older Star Wars model kits like X-Wings, Star Destroyers, stuff like that. Never got into any Gundams until recently, actually. It helped me quit smoking because I focused all my energy into Gunpla. My favorite series is Double O. Because if you can't just get into this series of not knowing anything about Gundam in the first 5 minutes of this series and just go, oh my god, what is this? I want more. What is this? Give me more. If you can't get into it in the first 5 minutes, I don't know what to tell you. My favorite mobile suit is the Strike. People might say, oh, it's from Seed and Seed Destiny, but the Strike is a very versatile suit, inspiring many variations. The Astrays, the Red Frames, all those from the Strike. The Strike Freedom. It's the Strike Rouge, which is the same thing, but just red. It's just a very, very utility suit. Very fun to mod and play around with and add on to and just pose. It's a very, very fun suit. My current work in progress is the Gundam EZ-SR from Gundam Build Fighters. Or Build Fighters Try? Build Fighters Try. I can't remember because I can't read Japanese. But I'm doing the Shadow variant, so it's a sniper mod, and it's going to be for a build competition due the weekend after Easter, for my local Cincinnati Gun Club Builders group that I helped found and started. So, after that, and I'm going to throw it over to our buddy Sean now, and he'll tell you about himself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Sean, and like these two gentlemen over here, you can find me on Instagram at Cerebral Mecca. I have, as well as like these guys, I've been building for about a year now. Let's see, my favorite series, I would have to say right now, would have to be Origin. I can't get enough of that. Favorite mobile suit is from Unicorn, and it is actually this fine, beautiful woman right here, the Kshatriya. Just something about it. I love it. Such a beast suit. Currently, right now, what I'm working on is the Big Daddy, Granddaddy. This is from the starter set. And I feel like this Gunpla, this suit, is like a must-have in anyone's collection, whether you side with the Feddies or you side with us. So yeah.
All right,
back to Mike.
Cool. Like I said, the premise of this channel, this series, is really to highlight Gunpla as a hobby and talk about Gundam as a show. So we figured for first round, we'd like to talk about for folks who are either just getting into the hobby or might be interested in it, don't really know what it is. Good starting points, good fursuits, basic tools, because hobbying or model building as a hobby in general can get very expensive very quick depending on what tools you buy, where you're buying them. So like I said, if you're looking to get your toes wet, this episode's really for you. My personal recommendation for anybody who's looking to get into building right now would probably be any kit from the HG Origin line. The newer kits, the details on them are great. The panel lines on them are great. A lot of them are coming with crazy amounts of accessories compared to what you used to get in kits. The undergating is very nice. And brand new, I believe, this year. Now, it started, I think, with the IBO kits. But any of the new Origin stuff, for any of you guys who have been building for a while, English and manuals.
Yay!
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big selling point for somebody who's looking to get into the hobby. I said it's great that you can now follow directions in English. It makes it makes it a little bit easier, especially for some of the symbols, the turn here, the apply this first, then do this. Like I said, it's great to now see that in English. So yeah, like I said, if my personal recommendation for anyone looking to get in right now, anything from the high grade Origin line, can't go wrong.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about the newer kits as well too, now that they have English translations, is actually you can read the bios of not only the suit but the pilot, and as well as on the side of the boxes you can know the specific name of the weapon and all that other happy stuff. Especially if you're trying to paint too,
Yeah,
it has all the
true.
ratios, and then you can read them in English now.
Yeah, so Sean, if someone was looking to get into it right now, what would be your if you would recommend one suit, what would it be for someone who's looking to get into it?
Recommend, out of all the suits that I've built so far since I've been doing this hobby, and just when it comes to the amount of stuff you can get, I would definitely have to recommend, hands down, the starter set. Because not only do you get a very well detailed, and I mean, there is a lot of detail for an HG kit on this. And so you not only get a very well detailed kit, it's also very solid. There's like no loose pieces, nothing really falls off. But it does, if I can get it out, you get a Gundam marker. It comes with, I think, about 4 weapons.
Oh wow, not bad.
And also, I think the best part about it is this guide. Now, yes, it is in Japanese because it's an older kit, but if you have Google Translate app, you can just scan over the pages and read everything that it has to say. And I mean, it touches up, literally, it's when it says it's a beginner guide, it's literally a beginner's guide. Like, it has, tools you're going to need, where to cut on the runner, getting rid of panel lines, or seams, I'm sorry, filling in panel lines, adding weathering effects and whatnot. So if I was to say a kit to get into and you're just starting, definitely get this one. You can find some of them for $20, but I was fortunate enough to find that for $16, and altogether it was like 17 and some change. But I would definitely recommend that.
Very cool. How about you, Mike?
Personally, for a beginner starting in, I would honestly suggest the HGUC Gundam Mark II Revive. Because for a beginner, the Granddaddy RX-78 is, when you look at it, it's honestly, let's face it, come on guys, it's kind of lame. It's kind of lame. I mean, you have to
on me, dog.
Honestly, no, Sean, no. I love the RX. I have a mega size. I have like 1, 2. I have more like RX kits than anything else. But I'm saying I love Gundam, so I love the RX. But for someone who doesn't necessarily love the original series, the Mark II is a very modern, updated, solid. It's a sexy looking kit. That's the kit you want to take out on the town when the RX 78 is the car that you just need to get to work in. That's pretty much what it is. It only comes with the gun. It comes with a cannon, beam rifle, beam saber, shield. Same thing the RX does, just a whole lot sexier.
Man, nothing sexy about Fetty Scum.
I mean,
Sieg Zeon.
you know, should we talk about the rivalry? Should we talk about the Fetty Scum and the Zeon? Should we talk about that?
Well, I think before we get into that too, I think for people who are just getting into the hobby and might not really know what it is, you've heard us say a couple times HG or high grade. I think it's very important too when you're looking at kits to understand that Bandai releases their kits in different grades. I'm trying to think right now. I think they have the high grade line, the SD line, which is like the severely deformed little suits, big heads.
Which there's actually like 3 or 4 subgroups of the SD line as well. Which the BB Senshi is the best
one,
most quality.
Do not get the EX standard at all. If you're going to build an BB Senshi,
I mean,
it's just, there's so much you get with one of the BB Senshi SD kits as opposed to the EX standard. But also, the EX standard too is a really good line. I think also if you're getting into it and you don't want to spend too much too, because they will run you about $8.
Yeah, no,
honestly, most places aren't going to have the BB Senshi kits. They are a little harder to find in some markets. But the EX kits, the EX SDs, you will easily find compared to if you're buying local. Yep. It will be easier. So don't miss out on this just because it's, it is a little less of a kit. Yeah. It's not necessarily make less fun. It's just a cheap kit.
Because if I must admit, the EX standard SD kits do have a lot of detail on the pieces as well. So that's a positive thing I do have to say about those kits.
But anyways, back to the grade. So you said SD. We interrupt you with SD.
Yep.
After that would be master grade 1/100. So Mike, you want to take it back from there?
Yeah. Just because we were talking about price point a little bit. The high grades will run you depending on where you're shopping. Locals online, you can usually snag a high grade kit. I'd say anywhere between 10 being on the low end, depending on the kit. Average probably anywhere from like 15 to almost 20. If you're picking up a bigger kit or it's coming with a lot of accessories, don't be surprised if you're paying $20 to $30. Now some of the bigger ones, like Sean's favorite suit, the Kshatriya, that'll set you back depending on where you're shopping, 50-ish, 60-ish bucks some places. The SDs will run you anywhere between I would say 5 to 10-ish to 20, depending on what it is. The master grades are the 1/100 size. The bigger kits, more options, more gimmicks, more posability. You get different kinds of decals. You get the water slides, heat transfers, some of the regular foils on some of the kits. The really nice, and they feature an inner frame, which is cool. A lot of the high grades, that's primarily what I build. The newer kits have somewhat of an inner frame, but the true master grade 1/100, I mean, you're literally building pistons, the Zaku's, the mono eye on it. When you turn the head, it's on a gear, so the eye moves.
Some of the newer ones have LEDs in them as well.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The RX Origin actually has an LED slot. The newer one that's getting ready to be released has both yellow and purple LED options for it. Why purple, I have no idea, but it's got purple LEDs.
Mono eye, baby.
All day. Then after the Master Grade series, something Bandai's been doing recently, is we're getting the Reborn 1/100 older kits getting some love. The Iron Blood series, I believe they're called Full Mechanic. The why they didn't make them part of the Master Grade line, I don't know. You're pretty much getting a Master Grade. You're getting a pretty much full inner frame, the posability, the accessories, same size scale too. Like I said, it's in that 1/100 size. Then when you move up in size, the next step up would be the perfect grade kits. There's where you're going to start spending some serious coin. The perfect grades, I would expect to pay 200 and up, depending on what the kit is. If it's a limited release, like I said, you're looking at about $200 to get it. 100 on, or I think like $120 on some of the older ones. Now this is going to be a much larger scale. The detail is going to be there. Like I said, you're getting that full frame, much bigger size. So I mean, you're paying for more of the plastic, but you're really getting the detail in those kits. And then after that, you have the mega size, large suits. They're crazy big. They look awesome. I personally haven't built one myself. They look really cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple on display. Like I said, they're cool. They're huge. I mean, they're now in the mega size. I think right now, what do they have? 5 suits out in that series.
The RX-78, the Zaku 2 Char, Gundam Age, and there's another Gundam Age. I thought there were 2 Gundam Age, weren't there? I could be wrong. I know there's 1 Gundam Age at least.
Yeah. So I think there's 4.
Now, it's think of it as a no grade, really big Gundam. It's very simple. Surface detail's really fun. It's just fun. It's just a fun, really, really big kit. I have a perfect grade Strike Freedom, and I have a mega size RX, and the RX is bigger than my Strike Freedom, which is really, really sad compared to the price of the Strike Freedom compared to the mega size RX.
Yep, very true, very true. Yeah, and just to go back really quick to talk about the lines, they said if you're looking to get into it, the high grade line, you can pick up suits from any series. It's like I said, whatever you choose as your starting point. And I'd recommend too, when you're going after your first kit, if you haven't seen a series, buy one you think looks cool. If you're watching a series and want to get into it, I think it's more fun to buy a suit you really like. Do that as your first kit to get your feet wet, start rolling. The other thing we want to cover in this first intro video, besides the suits, the basic tools. Now, before we get into that, I will say it's really cool to see this hobby expanding in the States. Some chain stores are starting to sell Gunpla now, which is kind of cool to say. But before we go any further, I definitely want to say, if you have a local, support it. They were there before the chains were. Like I said, this is still in the States. The popularity is growing, but the local for me is always going to be my go-to for suits. There's no way around it. Your local will usually have the best selection of suits, best prices most of the time on suits. Depending who your local is, if they're a distributor, they'll usually have new suits when they release, which is cool. Like I said, depending on who it is too, you might be able to get P Bandai in store. You won't have to order it online, ship it from Japan, pay a bunch of money. So that, like I said, rule number 1: if you got a local, support it. Get out there and do it. Now, with that being said, when we first started this video, we talked about how this hobby can get very expensive very fast. If you start looking at airbrushes, paints, I mean, you name it, weathering kits, weathering pigments, oil. I mean, there's just the list goes on and on and on. So I think a good fundamental build kit, should definitely pick yourself up a pair of nippers. Now for supplies, I recommend if you're getting into it, don't want to drop a lot of money on it right away. Really recommend if you have a Michaels, an AC Moore, trying to think, Hobby Lobby. Most of the big box hobby stores and craft stores will have 40 to 50% off coupons that you can print out online, bring up on your phone, so you can get yourself a decent set of nippers for almost half off. The other thing that I think is an essential, or I guess two pieces, we'll talk about them really quick. A X-Acto, a hobby knife, doesn't have to be an X-Acto brand, and a sanding stick, both of which, like I said, you can get at any big box retail, print yourself out a coupon, and you're only spending a couple bucks on them. The other thing to consider too when you're first starting out is the hobby is more about practice and technique. Yes, you can go out and spend $50 on a pair of nippers or something like that, but if you haven't practiced, you don't know how to use them, you can't expect to get the same quality, the same results as somebody who's been building and practicing for years. So like I said, do yourself a favor, basics, fundamentals first, and progress from there.
Definitely. And going back to the taking advantage of, as Mike puts it, big box like hobby store and craft stores when they have 40%, 50% coupons. Definitely take advantage of that. And I have recently been blessed by Mike here with the knowledge that I can do that. So actually, this is the last thing I bought. I'm going to end up going back tomorrow, but this is, I think, one of the most important things that you're going to need for the hobby, and it's cement. It helps bind together the plastic or the pieces, removes seam lines and whatnot. Now these, since it's name brand, it's Tamiya, these by themselves, the price tag on it, probably can't see it, is $5.49, so about $6. But I used a 40% coupon and got it for $3.50. Definitely take advantage because you're going to save a lot of money, and this hobby can get expensive. And it can get extremely expensive if you only use name brand stuff. So, yeah, name brand stuff is good, but if you can find a cheap alternative, especially if you're building on a budget, look for a cheap alternative. Because like a small bottle, for example, of lacquer thinner or enamel thinner that you can use to thin out enamel paints at a hobby store goes for like 10, 11 bucks. But if you go to, Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store, you can buy a big bottle like that big for $5. And it'll last you for the next couple of years, depending on how many kits you build and, how much stuff you use.
And
But
depending,
more or less, like Mike said, definitely support your local hobbies, because if you support your local hobbies, they'll start bringing in more kits, frequently better kits. It'll grow in your town and around the area too, so it'll definitely help the community out.
and also, actually, the cement and everything is also used to remove panel lines. You can actually, because what it does, it's not necessarily glue. What it does is it melts the kit together when you use that cement. It's not actually like, super glue or anything like that nature. It actually is a chemical reaction to the kit that melts the kit to itself. And if you want to remove panel lines, you use that, push it together, let it dry, and sand it off. You might have to do it a few times, though.
Yeah, very true.
Definitely starting off, you want to get yourself a pair of nippers, and probably the cheapest, unless you use a coupon, would be standing paper. And you can definitely go to like Ocean State Job Lots, Big Lots, stores like that, and you can go to like the hardware section or the automotive section, pick up sheets of sanding paper for dirt cheap, like $1 to $2. Now, if you go to like a hobby store and you get the name brand stuff, you're gonna look to spend a little bit more, like $5-6. So that's something I would look out for and keep in mind too when you're buying tools, because two of the most important things besides the cement is your nippers and sandpaper.
Yeah, very true.
Because without them, you can't build your kits. But
yeah,
That's true. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I actually, when I build, I'll also use a assortment of hobby knives. Um, Mostly everyone is familiar with the standard hobby knife. Sharp does the trick. What I use is a more after I use my nippers, I cut away the piece. I use a very flat knife, and with my hobby board, I actually take it. I will slowly chop the piece off. It actually does. It's not like God hands, which are a very expensive pair of nippers that almost cut no mess at all. It leaves very little mess, so very little cleanup, very little sanding that needs to be done. Usually, when I use the chopping method, I will take a more smaller blade, like this blade, and I will actually just slowly whittle the nub that's left over down to where you really even can't see it. Now, if I'm going to paint a kit, I'm going to use filing sticks. I'm going to get that's going to be, yeah, you're not seeing anything. And I'm also going to go over the entire piece as I'm doing that so primer and everything else can set as well. But yeah, knives, if you have a steady hand and you like to be meticulous, a knife can be better than a sanding stick. But it's also your personal preference too.
Yes, exactly. But just always keep in mind, and just remember, never get discouraged, and practice makes perfect, because you're going to scar your pieces, you're going to stress them, you're going to cut too deep. You have to be very careful, but no matter what, I feel like it's a blood passage, or however you want to say it, into the hobby, but you're going to cut yourself at least once or twice. It's going to come with it. It's unavoidable, but just be careful. And again, just practice, and eventually you're gonna get it right. Because when I first started to now, when I clean up my pieces, it's a hell of a lot better than it was when I first started, and that's all due to practice. But just don't give up.
Yeah, no, I agree. The like Sean said, a lot of this hobby is going to be practice. Like Sean said, don't get discouraged. I take a look back at some of these guys I first did when I got back in, and I'm just like, oh my god, what was I thinking? But now I go through, and that's the other thing I really like about this hobby. It's almost instant gratification. As you're building, you get to see your progress. You get to see what the kit's going to look like. Once you get comfortable, you'll start coming up with ideas in your head. Well, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I can modify this. It's cool to see. It's unlike unlike some other hobbies. I play music myself. It's fun to do. If you're trying to sit down with a group of people, it's something that takes time. If you're not recording yourself, you never get to hear the end result yourself. This hobby is very rewarding. Once you finish the kit, you get to sit back, you can look at what you did, you can take it apart, clean it up more, paint it again. I mean, the possibilities and not even just Gunpla specific, modeling and hobbying, it is what you make it. That's one thing that I really like about this hobby. I mean, even to talk about another series, Build Fighters and the Build Fighters Try. It's a cool series because it really touches on what this hobby is. It is what you make it. You can build straight out of the box. I mean, that's pretty much the majority of my builds right now. After a year, I'm finally getting more comfortable with painting some more detail instead of using stickers or the decals that come with it. I'm getting more comfortable with repainting certain things. Metallic joints and stuff, repainting pistons, and this year I'm really looking forward to getting an airbrush so I can totally start doing repaints of the kits. Yeah.
Which I think I'm the only one actually out of us also that actually went into airbrushing, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I like to hand paint.
I do like hand painting. Hand painting is surprisingly easy. You don't necessarily need surface primer. Depending on the color, you go with the kit. I mean, honestly, if you go dark with dark, you don't have to prime, which is nice. I have an airbrush, and I actually, if I move, you can see I actually have a booth for my office with all my Magic the Gathering junk.
Noise.
Airbrushing is fun. I suggest never hesitate when you want to paint. Always be creative. Don't hesitate. Like if you see a kit and you're like, man, that camphor right there, I would like to see it yellow. Just paint it yellow. Do what you want to do. Don't be scared to, oh man, I might mess my kit up. I mean, yeah, you're going to mess a kit up. Everyone makes mistakes. It's a hobby. It's also a learning experience.
Yep.
And anything that you make a mistake on, you might see it. Everyone else might not see it. My wife has the same issue. Like there's been so many times I've told her, I'm like, this little mistake right here. Can you see this? She goes, it looks amazing. Why are you obsessing over this one thing that I can't even tell is wrong? So you're always going to be your worst critic, but don't be scared. Do what you want, because Gunpla is freedom. That is the main slogan of this hobby. Is Gunpla is freedom.
Yay!
Hey, freedom. That's what it is. Airbrushing is a little more expensive. Even if you go cheap, it's still expensive to get into. On a cheap end, yes, I suggest getting an indoor spray booth or making your own. Either way, you're still going to spend about $100. There's no real way around that. You can get a kit on Amazon that actually has lights in it with very good, very decent quality, everything. No complaints. I have it right here, $100. If I built one myself, I would probably spend that much money, have something way more elaborate, but still the same price tag. You can get a really simple, really great starter air compressor with airbrush, $45 on Amazon. So you're looking at altogether about $160 just to start airbrushing in a safe area, because you can't breathe this stuff in. You can get sick. You can really just mess yourself up. And when you start using the thinners, if you're not ventilated properly, you will start realizing really quick when you're not ventilated properly. And even, I'm going to warn you now, even using a spray booth on the inside, if you use rattle cans on the inside, please make sure you have all windows open, even with the spray booth going, because those cans put out a lot of cubic volume that those little fans and those spray booths can't keep up with.
Yep.
And you get a lot of back fumes. It's still messy. It's still very messy. So it's more of an annoyance than a hassle, but it's something you should at least know.
Yeah,
I would say that. And then paints, I will suggest this. Pretty much for paints, Tamiya, you're going to earn about $3 to $4. Some places I've seen them jack. If they're more than $4, don't waste your time with it. They're really good. Even when you just hand brush them onto model kits, they're really, really good. You don't necessarily have, when you hand brush onto a kit, you don't need fancy brushes. You can buy the cheap couple dollar brushes at your hobby store. You don't have to invest in, the paintbrush set from Michaels that's like $50+ You don't.
Just make sure to take care of them properly.
Yes.
Wash them.
Yeah, no.
And always remember and keep in mind, too, that we have the world of information in the palm of our hands, too. So you can definitely look up a lot of stuff, too, to help you out and answer some of your questions online.
Yep. And I think just like a quick recap, the basic tools, and we'll finish it up with the last thing for any build, whether it's straight or custom. Decent pair of nippers, something to sand and file with, whether it be paper, sanding stick, file sets, hobby knife, the good old little panel line markers, and the finishing touch on a kit, your top coat. For those of you who may not have built a kit, like I said, or either just got into it, the top coat is a real nice finishing touch. It'll really, until you see the difference in person, it's hard to. I mean, it'll take an unpainted kit, finish it, seal it, and if you've done a good job building it, it borderline looks like you painted it. It'll seal your decals in nice. Yeah, like I said, when I first started building, top coating was something I was not. I mean, I'm sure you can even see the shine on some of the kits behind me. Those are most likely not top coated. It's something I started doing recently, and what it does for your kits is wonders. I went to my local. It's actually really cool. He does my local is the Gundam Kitchen. If you're in the Philadelphia area, really recommend checking it out. Cool store. But he'll do potlucks, and I was going in and I was looking and seeing other people's work. Now they hadn't painted the kit, but it looked much nicer than what I've done. So I started asking people like, how'd you get this matte finish? Like, did you sand the finish off the pieces? Like, how are you getting this? And everybody was kind enough to explain to me. All it was a straight build, panel line, and then top coated. I mean it. And the other thing is too, there's a couple different kinds of top coat you can get. They have the gloss coats, which will give a nice little shiny finish.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah, you got your semi, and then personally, what I like to use is the flat or the matte. It'll take the shine off the kits. So now, if you're using metallics, the flat might not be the way to go because you'll lose some of that, if not all of it. But I personally just really like what the matte and the flat does for the finish. You guys got any?
I agree. I like because for me, like, matte finish, it sort of almost has like a realistic metal look to it in a sense. So that's kind of like why that's my kind of like go-to, especially when I like pick up paint and make sure it's like matte paint, because I really like that finish it has. It's almost like textured, but it looks like metal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I will say you don't necessarily have to even paint or top coat anything that you do build. Hence my Dragon Momoko Gundam Destiny Heinz. The plastic on it was so brilliant on the purples and the other colors that top coating it would have taken away some of the beauty of the kit. So I opted out of not doing so. I did a little bit of panel lining, a little bit of Tamiya weathering, but you don't have to do anything to your kit. Can you panel line it? Yes. Do you have to? No. Whatever you think that kit should do, or what you want that kit to look like, no matter what it is your call and your choice, whether it be anything.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. At the end of the day, this hobby really is. It's very cool. It's what you want to make it. It's how you see and how you visualize what you're building.
It's your schmeckles you're spending.
Yeah.
You're spending the schmeckles. You can do whatever you want. Don't let somebody dictate you.
Very true.
And I have to say, for the most part, the community online is very helpful. Like, with all things, you're gonna get people who are trolls. You're gonna get people who are just straight assholes and who say rude comments. And, like, you know, it's to be expected. Like, there's gonna be a few people that are gonna be trolling this video and comments and whatever. It happens. But for the most part, the community as itself, especially on Instagram, it's amazing, and they're very supportive.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's a lot of great builders out there, and a lot of guys that are more than willing to help anyone who has a question about anything out there, especially on Instagram. The Instagram community is really great. The larger ones, on Facebook and things like that, you can get those trolls. I will say that the smaller local groups, always look for your smaller local groups. If you don't have one, look around. There's more people locally that you can make a group with and build with. Have someone to share in your experience. It's a great thing. Always try to look locally, and always network yourself. I mean, you can never have too many guys that are constructive and want you to do better and want to see better things of what you do
And if
and
you
what
live,
you love.
and if you live in like a town or a state that the community, there's no community. Again, the online community is a go-to spot, and that's actually how I met these two guys. Is because I live in Connecticut, and there's really not a big scene. There's only a handful of people, and I met those handful of people either through Instagram or I've seen them when I've gone gunpla shopping. So there's definitely a community out there. You'll find people, you'll find answers and help, and like I said, more or less, it's a good community, online and not online. Because I hear great things from these two about their locals and the community where they're from. So always keep that in mind. Never be afraid, especially on the internet. You can be whoever you want on the internet. So never be afraid to ask if you have questions, and just know that there is a community for this hobby.
And one thing about Instagram, which I think some people aren't used to because they're used to Facebook and things of that, you don't necessarily have to talk with people. It's about you can still just follow someone and like them, and it's not a bunch of just rambling nonsense. It's all constructive. It's all constructive.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's an online gallery.
Yeah,
where you can draw inspiration from. That's the best way I can put Instagram, and I love Instagram. Out of all other social medias, I definitely like Instagram because, like Mike said, it's more controlled. It's not, you don't have they're doing like live streaming now and whatnot, and their own little version of Snapchat, but you don't have to deal with all the other crap that you would if you're using like Facebook or even going on like forums online. Just Instagram more or less is eye candy.
Yeah. It's usually people who are very
friendship.
Yeah, and people that are very passionate about what they are sharing, and it's usually it's stuff that it's pictures that they are taking. It's moments out of their lives that they are sharing with someone. It's not all the other nonsense in the world. It's just each of our lives and what we want to share and what we want to talk about. And it's a great thing. It's a very, very great thing.
Yeah, so not to sound like a bunch of marshmallows, but
yeah,
we got you.
I will say this: after we wrap this up, we will keep rolling for a more unleashed podcast audio thing where we're going to be talking and doing other stupid things
for those less sensitive viewers.
Yeah.
If you would like to hear your language, please stay tuned.
Yep.
Also, you can visit us on our Facebook page or our Instagram.
Yeah, no, I think just to wrap this episode up, like I said, just if you're looking to get into the hobby, it's something that interests you. We very much encourage you to get out there, buy a kit, get your hands dirty, dig in, experience. It's cool. You'll meet great people along the way. You'll learn different techniques. I said it's really cool, all the stuff the hobby brings to the table. I said just to recap again, if you're looking to get into it, run out there, get yourself a nice high grade kit, the set of nippers, some sandpaper, some file, and have at it. So yeah, we're gonna be trying to do this once a week. So we look forward to seeing you very soon in the future.
Most definitely. And
if you want to hear,
we'll definitely be keeping we have, since we're brand new and we're first, this is our first episode. We are in the process of having a Facebook and also an Instagram set up where we'll, keep updated on next episodes and may ask questions and whatnot. So, and I think all of us can agree, if we get good response and this, blows up, we'll definitely be doing giveaways and contests and all the other happy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. We'll definitely be doing that. And if there's anything anyone that follows any of us wants to hear or wants questions or topics or anything they want to know, just let us know, and we will gladly add it into any episode we can.
Yeah.
Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, throw a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
Leave us a nasty comment. I love those.
Yes, please.
Please troll on us.
All right, everyone.
I love them.
We'll catch everybody next time.
Sieg Zeon.
Sieg Zeon.
Sieg Zeon.
Yeah.